يفنى الكل ويبقاه ليس الباقي إلا هو الله 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 ما لي رب إلا هو.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون. Continuing from where we had left off, Allah is saying about them, about these munafiqs who we've been talking about. Allah Ta'ala is saying about them that very clearly, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that these are the ones who traded guidance for heresy. They traded hidayat for gumrahi. They gave away the hidayat for the sake of deviance. These are the ones who traded guidance for heresy. So their transaction did not yield them any profit. They got no benefit from what they did. And they knew not the technique of transacting. And then the Quran further says their narrative, the translation, their narrative is like him who lit a fire. And when the surroundings became illuminated through it, Allah took away their brightness and left them in the darkness, that they see nothing. In other words, they recognize nothing. And concerning these two verses, and then this ends this chapter, this section rather, the Tafseer says that to trade guidance, to give guidance away, to trade guidance in place of deviance, in place of heresy, kumrahi, refers to choosing kufr over iman. It means to choose kufr over iman, which indeed is the cause of immense loss and destruction. Tabahi, barbadi. Everything is because they sold their iman. They traded their iman for what? For kufr. Okay? So the Quran is talking about this. Now, regarding the same verse, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. Concerning this, the Shani Nuzul, the significance and the wisdom of the revelation here, it says that this verse, this ayah was either revealed concerning those who became kafir after bringing iman. Yani murtad ho gaye the. They became murtad, apostates. Because they claimed to have iman, bring iman, but they became murtad, they became kafir in reality. Or it refers to those Jews who had iman on the Prophet ﷺ before he came. The Jews of Medina, before Rasulullah Pak ﷺ came, they had iman on this, that a Nabi will come. That is why they used to make dua. I'm now moving from the actual text, expounding. That's why they used to make dua, the kuffar, the Yahud, what they used to make dua, oh Allah, give us victory to the blessing of Nabi Akhirul Zaman. They used to ask whenever they used to fight any battles, etc. And when the Nabi Akhirul Zaman came, when Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, they rejected him after his coming. So the ayat could also, it says, refer to them. Okay? Or the Mufassirin say, it is related to all the kafirs who had been given inherent understanding of the truth. Okay? All the kuffar who had, by the command of Allah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them fitrat salima. Allah gave them the inherent understanding of the coming of a Nabi. This information came down in generations. They knew about it. All of them. But when Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, they rejected. So this could either refer to those, even refer to those kuffar who had been given inherent understanding of the truth by Allah, and the clear evidence and the true path was open before them. They knew that what was going to happen. They knew a Nabi is going to come. But when it happened, they rejected. But it was open. It was not something hidden to them. Okay? But still they did not take heed. Still they did not care. They did not take heed to this with their intellect and their impartiality, but rather they chose the path of falsehood. They chose the wrong path. They didn't use the akal that Allah gave them. They didn't use all the information that came down to them in the past. They just went with the wrong. Okay, they chose the false way. Now from this, one hukum, one law, one masla comes out. It says that this verse also proves that when doing a transaction, when you do business now, something came out from this hukum here, that when you do a transaction, when you do a business, generally, when you buy or sell, for the thing to become real ownership, what you have to say, the person who is selling must say, I have sold. The person who is buying is saying, I bought. But from this, one hukum comes out and proves that when doing a transaction, then bay' ta'ati, which is hand-to-hand sale, like how we do today in our businesses, hand-to-hand sale. Even though one does not say the word I have bought and that one says I have sold, you know that you have bought and you have sold. It's a hand-to-hand transaction. It's called bay' ta'ati. It's a kind of transaction. So it is said that from this ayat of the Holy Quran, the legality of this bay is proven. That to do hand-to-hand business, to take and to give, is permissible in Shariah Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and it is legal. This time, which is the normal general transaction that we do. The legality of this is proven from this ayat as well. Okay. Further, it is stated concerning them that when they did this deal, when they did this so-called transaction, the kuffar, where they traded the iman, which they had read kalima, but then they traded the iman for kufr. So it is stated that, in other words, they knew, if they knew how to trade, concerning them, the tafsir is saying, if they only knew how to really do business, how to trade, then they would have not lost the treasure of iman. They would not have lost the treasure of guidance, because that was the more valuable thing. That was the real valuable thing, expounding. That was the real valuable thing. But they traded something, they traded that for something that was inferior. Something that was of no use, but rather destructive to them. Okay, so they traded their iman for kufr. Now, after explaining the tafsir of this last ayat in this section, tafsir ayat number 17, where it is said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying concerning them, these munafiqeen, that how it was, what was the example that Allah ta'ala gave in the Quran, that the narrative is like him who lit a fire, and when the surrounding became illuminated through it, Allah took away the brightness. Allah took away the brightness and left them in darkness, and they see nothing. And they see, in other words, they recognize nothing. Now concerning this, it has been mentioned in the tafsir, and we're going to end with this, a very short one. This is an example of those whom Allah gave guidance to. Allah gave, they can't say they didn't get the hidayat. The hidayat came, the message, and you must know, to them came the direct message. It came from Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is an example of those whom Allah gave guidance to. Oh, gave them the choice and power over this. Allah gave them the power over this. Choice in the sense, gave them the opportunity to accept the iman. But they destroyed it. They destroyed this and did not attain the everlasting wealth. They did not and could not attain the everlasting wealth. What was the everlasting wealth? Iman. They could not attain it. Their property now, what did they attain? Their mal is what? What is their mal? What did they attain? They got some mal from their transaction. What is their mal? What is the thing? What is the thing that they attain? Grief, loss and fear. Because that's what they're going to have in the akhirat. That's what they got. They lost the real thing. Okay? In this category, the Mufassirin say that in this category are also the hypocrites who pretend to be Muslims. It is clarifying that this category refers to those who pretend to be Muslims. And by keeping kufr in their hearts, they destroyed the true light. By keeping kufr in the heart, they destroyed the true light of iman, and they even became unbelievers after becoming believers. After iman, they became kafir. Okay? And same is the condition of those before whom clear evidence was open. In other words, they had the guidance like we mentioned before. And they were given inherent understanding of things, but they did not derive any benefit through this. Rather, they chose the path of deviance. They chose the rah of gumrahi. They chose the path of gumrahi. And they were deprived of hearing. And when they were deprived of hearing the truth, the tafsir says, when they were deprived of hearing the truth, and when they were deprived of hearing the truth and seeing the truth, then in such a case, their ears, their tongues, and their eyes all are of no use to them. Why? Because they traded the iman for kufr. Okay? So this ends up to ayat number 17. the tafsir.
ज़मीनो ज़मां तुम्हारे लिए, मकीनो मकान तुम्हारे लिए,